Welcome back to another weekly Web3 digest with me, Jake, the founder of Magnet. This week, again, has not been a fantastic week for not just crypto, but the global economy. So we have a lot to unpack in this video. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So firstly, tariffs. Tariffs have been a bit of a curse word in crypto of recent, and it looks like that's not going to be slowing up. We were looking for Liberation Day, where this would kind of be signed, sealed, delivered. We could price it into the market and move on, but it doesn't look that way based on what's happened this week and what Trump has decided to enforce from a tariff perspective. Now, the interesting element here is that crypto has followed the macro economy quite closely this year. That's why we are getting wrecked. However, this week we showed a bit of strength in comparison to the stock market that dropped 5% US stock market. I mean, the S&P is 6% down. Some of the biggest drops that we've seen since COVID. And a lot of big people coming out and saying that we're in a recession. No one has announced we're in a recession, but when you look at the numbers, you look at what's happening out there in the markets, how much blood there is, it's an indicator that we're not in a great economic climate right now. Tariffs, again, it's not going to be or looking like to be the short-term thing. This is going to be the start of something much bigger. We're going to have to wait and watch and see what happens here. But the only positive we can take is that this might be, if it does cause some form of recession, a positive for crypto if Bitcoin is looked at as an alternative currency. Because if there is a recession, the US dollars are going to crash and price, and so are other currencies if other countries are affected also in a recession. So it could be a way for alternative currencies and digital assets to rise. The downside we have is they are natively more risky assets, and people don't seem to favor risky assets when conditions are good. However, there's still alternative assets people might use to hedge against what's going on in other markets and other currencies. So that's the first main bit of news that we need to cover this week. The next piece of news, which kind of is pretty much in line with the first bit, is that we saw a little bit of Bitcoin decoupling this week, and this is a positive sign. So for the first time, really, I mean, when the news about tariffs came around, Bitcoin did drop, but then it rebounded, whereas other markets didn't rebound in terms of the stock market. So showing that strength, showing that it's not just following the general global markets is a really good sign to take. However, it's way too early to assume that that's the way that things are going to be. But it was a way to think that, okay, some people might see Bitcoin as an alternative currency to hedge against what's going on elsewhere in other markets, somewhere to put money whilst other things are dropping. So yeah, this is something that's positive in my opinion, and definitely worth a mention on the weekly digest. Next up, I want to talk about dApp usage. So something that I spotted this week is that the use of AI dApps has increased in Q1 despite market conditions by 29%, whereas DeFi apps have decreased by 15%. So something we talk about a lot, especially on the growth side of crypto, is all about narrative and mindshare, and AI has really taken over that side of crypto for a while now, and it's something that we're kind of seeing being put into place here, because AI is showing strength from the dApp space, whereas kind of what cryptoism was built on, things like DeFi, are showing a decrease in activity. So it's just a little bit of a look into the future of how dominant AI can be in our space in crypto, and how I still think that whenever the market does turn around, AI will still take a lot of the mind share, because it's more than just a narrative now. In my opinion, it's part of the market, as is something like DeFi. DeFi is not like a fresh narrative that rises and then dies. It's a part of the market. And AI's strength, despite outside conditions, really signal to me that not only is it here to stay, but it's here to dominate a big part of crypto moving forward. Next bit of news, not something as positive, is that Web3 security is under scrutiny right now. I'm just reading here that in Q1 2025, Web3 security faced a massive setback with over $2 billion lost in hacks. Obviously, Bybit was a huge part of that $1 billion hack from North Korea. It's an issue because we're developing in this industry and there is still issues with security, and security is everything in crypto. And one thing to understand is that machines, because of AI, because of even quantum computing, again, is so much smarter, that even though we're advancing as an industry and we're building better security protocols, they might not be keeping up to speed with other developments in the technology world. So yeah, it's just a reminder really to be super, super careful and safe and on top of these different advancements and making sure that you're adapting your approach to security. Because, one blip in security can affect your business. It can affect your personal life. It's so, so important. It's fundamental. So yeah, numbers don't lie. Security is still a big problem in crypto and you need to take caution. And the final bit of news, we're talking about Solana again. So just reading here, again, Solana can't stay out of the headlines. It's either really good for Solana or really bad, but they're always there. They're always making noise in some way, whether they even want to. But Solana of blockchains took the lead over the last week or so with 334 million transactions. I mean, in comparison terms, Tron had 58 million, Near Protocol had 53 million. So it's getting quite clear to me that Solana is here to stay way past meme season, and it's really cemented itself as a leading chain now. I mean, also Solana-wise, Solana Whales unloaded $50 million in Sol after a 4-year unlock. There was 206 million staked, and that was the largest single day in unlock history. So yeah, and there's also things to do with Grayscale, which are trying to file for their Solana ETF as well. So they made an update to that this week as well. So yeah, busy always on Solana, but we can't keep it out of our headlines, and that's why we keep mentioning it in the weekly digests. Anyway, that is all for this week. I hope that this helped give you a little bit of an insight into what's going on into crypto to make sure that you're on top of things, whether you're on the business side of crypto or retail side of crypto. And we do one of these every single week. So make sure that you subscribe to the Magnet channel. And yeah, we'll be back this time next week to give you another digest and a take on the market that you need to know so that you're in the know.